Alright, so hello everybody. Oh, this is how my name is William. Alright, now today I'm going to talk about what does the Bible say about social media bans. Alright, that's... Here, let's take a look at documents. And let's go to my... No, that's not it. There it is. What does the Bible say about social media bans? Yes, that's what we're talking about today. Now, I know the Bible does not really talk about social media because social media wasn't invented back then. But I'm talking about social media bans. See, that's different. I know, that's why. We're not just talking about social media, we're talking about social media bans. Alright? Now, I know AB 1709 is California's social media ban. I asked for a no vote on this because, first of all, it only has passed right now on this because, you know, I oppose social media bans. I'm going to tell you why I oppose them. Just because, you know, who made this idea? Well, first of all, Gavin Newsom wanted this idea in California. That's why, even though the first country that did ban social media was for kids was Australia. I know that. That's why. But we need to look what the Bible says. Okay. I got this from Electronic Frontier Foundation. So, this is what's going to look like if social media was banned. No protections at all. What's the point here? Are you going to because the point of the social media ban is yeah, I know they want to ban it for kids, but what about adults? That's the problem here. They want adults over the age of 16 just to upload their ID to prove they're over the age of 16 just to use social media. That's the problem. And now, do you want to upload a copy of your ID just to prove you're over age of 16 to use social media? My answer is no, I don't, and that's the problem. And can they do without it? Well, now can they do that without an ID? Well, like age is a station? Well, no, because that's still bad. You know, they should not need to know how old we are anyway. We just need to, you know, that's why. And people think on the news, yeah, they think it's going to stop kids from committing suicide, but no. No. You're wrong about that. People can commit suicide way before social media was invented. You know, look at it throughout the Bible. Now, the name of AB 1709 California social media ban, it's also called Cover Platforms and Age Restriction and Safety Advisory Commission. Oh yeah, so it's made by Josh Laurenthal He needs to be voted out anyway. This stupid guy. And he's probably going to hell when he dies too anyway. But that's read about California's social media ban. And if it becomes law, when will it go into effect? Well, let me see. When it becomes effective. Yeah, that's what you're nerding about. Yeah. Well, there's already a law called Protect Kids from Social Media Addiction Act, AB 79, SB 906, which would be, oh yeah, it will be from, oh yeah, it will go to effect on, January of next year. That's why. But it says right here, January of the following year. What does that mean? Is that January of the following year? Did I mean January 2028? Because let me read this. Would have been in effect on January 1st, 2028. Oh, okay. No, it would have been no. It would have been no. I mean, okay. So we're back in January of next year, but rather than 2028. Okay, so. There's Senate Bill 976 called Protect Kids from Social Media Addiction Act. Well, I know that's going to go into effect too, but next year. But okay, so it will go to effect January of next year, but not 2028. Okay, so well, I didn't know about that. That's the point. But that's if it becomes law. We don't know yet, anyway. Anyway. Alright, let's read about this one. So, existing law protecting our kids from Social Media Addiction Act. Yeah, that would be SB 976. I never even heard about that law yet, but I know. Yeah, I got signed into law in 2024. I'll talk about that law later. Anyway, prohibits an operator addictive internet-based service applications providing addictive feed. Now, as defined, unless operator does not have provide, it does not actual knowledge using matters that is specified, or an operator is used for provide. To be over here. Now, existing law, the Digital Age Assurance Act, well, that'll be the law for agent station devices beginning of January 1st of 2027, which is next year anyway, requires a person who owns, maintains, or controls the software that's defined. Will require 8-record data and real-time sources of programming, interface, or operating system, which with respect user of an operating system user, a cover application store, and an application is downloaded or launched. This bill will prohibit covered platform as defined, but providing that it's defined to be user who under 16 years of age will require a covered platform responsible measure to ensure that users under the age of 16 of age are not offered by an addictive feature and a covered on that covered platform. The bill also authorized that the Attorney General, the Constitution of E-Safety Advisory Commission, will adopt regulations that permit enforce the bill any further restricting minors online, including the alternative scope cover platform. If the Attorney General doing this so is necessary, cover applies that websites, online services, applications, mobile applications, undefined features undefined, available to users under 16 years of age. This bill will oppose searchability of non-compliant platform. It requires provisions being enforced by a civil action brought by the Attorney General for local public prosecutor and specified. This bill will establish E-Safety Advisory Commission, Department of Justice, and U.S. Attorney General on matters on online safety, including invitation, enforcement, and provisions described above. The Commission on before January 1st of each year reports of administrator and the governor activities under the bill as specified. Okay, so that's what it is. That one. Now, if it becomes law, I'll ask for a repeal, but later in a different time. I might have to ask it. Probably in November of next year, because. Yeah, but once it becomes law, it will already go to effect next year. So that's why this bill here. So that's why. But I want to know, but now the problem is that most Americans are supporting social media bans, and that's the problem here. We need to oppose them, okay? And that is why, and I'm against them, and Australia might be the first country that banned social media for kids. Which country did ban social media? All the way. And for everybody. Well, let's take a look here. But first, let's talk about committing suicide here, because they think it will stop kids from committing suicide here. Well, I think I'm going to talk about way back in the Bible. So, King Saul committed suicide, and he went to heaven. Now, when you think about what about Judas Iscariot, because he commits suicide too. Well, I think you need to go to his side here, because Judas Iscariot was only trusting himself. You see, he was feeling sorry for what he did. That's trusting yourself. Okay, not trusting in Jesus. feeling sorry for yourself is still works. Okay? So, if you come to Jesus, don't feel sorry for yourself. You know, you have to, you have to be, you need to be, you need to learn, you need to try, you need to trust Jesus, and you have to learn what He did on the cross to save us from hell, and that's how you, that's how we make it to heaven anyway. So. So yeah, even though Judas Iscariot did commit suicide, he was trusting in his works. And that is wrong. Okay? Just like Cain was trusting in his works, and and just like Cain was the first person just trusting in his works, and that's why he went to hell too, and that's why. And that's name people from the Bible that committed suicide. It's named the character. It's named the characters of the Bible that commit suicide. No, commit suicide. That's what I'm talking about here, because okay, right here, explicitly records of 7 individuals who took their own lives. So you got Judas Iscariot, and you got King Saul, and also Samson. So yeah, we already got this. Yeah, Judas Iscariot just hanged himself. I know that, but he went to hell because he was feeling sorry for what he did, not trusting Jesus. To Stephen. So that's how I know Judas Iscariot went to hell. But King Saul, he committed suicide, and he went to heaven. Now, what about Saul's armor bearer? Yeah, he was already dead, but he was fought on a sword and died alongside him. So he probably went to heaven too. Now, what about Ahithophel? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he betrayed King David with Absalom, and advice was ignored. Well, I don't know. And Ahithophel was either trusting Jesus or not. You can let me know in comments below if he did or not. If he didn't, yeah, he would have been in. He probably would be in hell. Now, Zimri, that would be the king of Israel. Only for 7 days. So Tazra, and then rival forces. You see, building ground of fire around himself. That's why. And then you got Elbilik, the wicked judge, a military leader. His skull crushed in heavy millstone of the siege of the Debas, and by his scheme dying of his woman's head, immediately ordered to armor bearer, just in through his sword, judge at the 9. Okay, so Judges chapter 5 verse 9. And then you got Samson. By the Philippines. He betrayed that. Yeah, he betrayed for God and swore his physical strength one last time. First report pillars of a pagan temple collapsing. Killed thousands of enemies along himself. And you got Judges chapter 16 verse 20 to 30. So Bible's recording about 7 individuals that committed suicide. So there's 7 suicides in the Bible. This is way before social media. Okay, so that's what you have to think about. So this is why. You know. And kids gonna find other ways to get on social media, even if it includes stealing their parents' IDs or, you know, or using VPNs and stuff. You know, that's why. And look, I don't blame people for using a VPN just to get away from age verification anyway. And, you know, VPNs were not really built for age verification anyway. They weren't. No, they were meant to protect your... They were meant to protect your information. That's why. From hackers. That's why. It wasn't... It was... Yeah. VPNs weren't made to bypass age verification, even though that's what people are using it for anyways. And you might think California might ban VPNs next, just like what happened to Utah. Maybe if you don't stop this, that's the problem. If you don't get these laws repealed, then yeah, they might do that. That's the problem here. And I know, Steve Hilton, he wanted to change this to a cell phone ban, to a smartphone ban instead. For under, yeah, a smartphone ban for under 16 instead of social media ban. But I don't know. It's just, you know, I would take the smartphone ban under the social media ban, even though it's still wrong anyway. Now I'll still get that law repealed. Anyway, I'll be right back, guys. I think I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, well I did not sneeze yet anyway, but it's the problem is I just feel like it, and that's the problem here. So the best you can do, if you oppose this, is to call your senator and ask them to vote no on this. Because like I did, I already called my senator back in June, you know, Susan Rubio, and I asked her to vote no on this. Because I don't want this, that's why. But if it becomes law, I'll ask for a repeal, but later. So that's why. All right. Well, so let me tell you something. It needs to be up to the parents to stop kids from using social media, and that's why. If kids are being addicted to social media, it's because it's the parents. That's why. It's the parents that are doing this, and that's why. Now we have to learn about parenting controls here. Even look, even NetChoice is agreeing with this. That's why. Because if it were to protect kids, it would have been about this. Help parents learn about parenting controls. That's when parenting controls I've been learning about. Yeah, they existed since 1995. So yeah, just a year after I was born. I was born in 1994 anyway. So. It looks like NetChoice has blocked a law in Texas called the so-called Scope Act. Okay, well. We'll worry about that later. But not the App Store Accountability Act, which is a law that needs to get repealed anyway. But I'll get to that later. But I already talked about I already talked about the Texas App Store Accountability Act anyway. Right now I talked about social media bans. So there's no way you can. So interesting. The social media bans in the U.S. well, they're violating our First and Fourth Amendment. That's why. So that's why. If it were. It would have been about it would educate the parents to use parenting controls. That's why, Yeah, I want the parent. Yeah, it needs to be up to the parents. That's why. So, to me, I believe if we're gonna make laws to stop kids from using social media, it needs to be up to the parents. I think it needs to be up to the parents. That's why. They can use the parental controls to do it, and that's why. But it would have been up to the parent to stop kids from using social media instead the government, and that's why. We don't need the government to be parenting our kids. We need the parents to do it, and that's why. So, well, even if the parents were asking about it, it's still wrong anyway. And plus, but problem is that even the parents are not even asking for it anyway, and the government wants to do it anyway, even without asking, even the parents asking for it. That's why. And the parent and the lazy parents are supporting it anyway. They think it's amazing or something like that, and no, it's not. So I oppose social media bans, and I think you should oppose it too. I know, and I know. And then there's people asking for a federal social media ban in the U.S. Well, I don't know. Does the U.S. does the U.S. have a federal social media ban for under 16s? I don't think so. I don't think so, but yeah. No. Well, I don't know yet. Yeah, there's no federal in the U.S. for a total social media ban, but there is a Kids Off Social Media Addiction Act. You know, this one. Yeah. S-278. And you notice they got H.R. 7399, which is Kids Off Social Media Act. Yeah, it will. Yeah, okay. It will ban kids under social media under the age of 13. But that's anyway, not 16 anyway. But yeah, so we do got. So yeah, the U.S. does have social media bans bills being proposed anyway. Just 2 of them anyway. I'm just looking off of them right now, but yeah. You see, this is not good. So I'm against social media bans. I think you need to be against it too. Okay? You know, that's stop these social media bans. Okay? And if they become law, we have to get them repealed if they become law, and that's why. You know, it's just adults uploading their ID if they're over the age of 16 to use social media, to prove they're over the age of 16 to use social media. That's why. We don't need that. Okay? We need our privacy. We need our privacy, and that's why. We need freedom of speech and privacy here in the U.S. That's what we do need here in the U.S., not social media bans. I mean, you also need parents using parental controls to stop kids from using social media. That's why. That's what we need here in the U.S., not social media bans. You know. I know the first country that went into kids was this Australia. I know, but what's other countries that did it? Have social media bans already? Well, got North Korea right here, but they can't even use the internet anyway. The other country that would ban social media, but they make copies of their own. Well, it's this country right here. It's this country right here, China. Yes. Even though China has banned American social media, guess what? They made their own versions of social media. Alright, let's take a look at the Chinese social media. Let's look at the Chinese copies of social media. Alright. You got WeChat, you got Douyin, you know, that's why, and they got Xiaohongshu. Okay, yeah. So WeChat, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, that's the Little Red Book. Okay, you got Sina Weibo, alright. Bilibili, Zhiho, okay, okay, Tencent, Double Q, and you got Kuaishu. But you also got there's different kinds, you know, but these are copies of American social media. That's why. Weibo, if you want to know, Sina Weibo, it's just a Chinese version of it's just a Chinese version of Twitter. That's basically what it is. Douyin is just it was made before TikTok anyway. Okay, it's okay. Xiao Hongshu, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly anyway, but or is it known as Red? Okay, Little Red Book. All right. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be a mix of Instagram and Pinterest. Okay. And yeah, I also got WeChat, also known as Okay, it said Weixin in Mandarin. Oh yeah, it's a super app for 1.3 billion users. Okay, so. Oh, okay. Also known, okay, so this one's also known as Red Note. Okay. What's this one? You got Kuaishu. Oh, it says it's the compare of Douyin. Okay. All right. So that's what it is. But I think how many? But there is more than just that. Do you know what Chinese Facebook is called? Well, let me see. Oh. So there's Renren. I think Renren is, now, if you want to know what Renren is the Chinese version of Facebook, anyway. Oh. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so Renren's the Chinese version of Facebook. That's what it is. And I think it was like about Chinese versions of YouTube, or you got, yeah. I'm looking for Chinese YouTube alternatives. That's why I look. Okay, so you got Bilibili, and you got Exilia, and you got and you also got Youku. So there's also Todo as well. I want to show you this, so that's why. So there's, I guess there's like about 4 of them, but yeah, that's a good look at here. So if you want to know what Bilibili is, it's right here. It's this website. Yeah, this is Bilibili.com. It's a Chinese version of YouTube. You know, I never use it, but you know what? It's there. You can get on it, and you can watch videos on here. They're probably basically in Mandarin. You know, that's why. You know, but why do you want to use it? Well, I guess you can use it if you want to. I won't sign up for it because you know what? That's the problem here. You know. But here it is, Bilibili. It's a Chinese YouTube alternative. That's why. I'm just picking it up right here. Now, oh, and I can also translate to English. Here, let me see if I can translate to English. I probably won't. Okay. I probably won't, okay, it won't do that for me. That probably won't let me, huh? It's not letting me translate to English anyway. But yeah, you can watch it right here. I don't know what kind of videos you want to, you know, that's why. You know, there it is. Bilibili, it's a Chinese social media. I'm not sure. It's a Chinese YouTube, that's why. Alternative. Why do you want to use it anyway? And it's more than just that. So there's also this one. Oh, what's this one? Ixigua. Okay. Ixigua. Okay, Westigua video. Okay, that's it. What is that? I never heard about that. Oh. So this was called Ixigua. I don't, or is it Ishigua? Is it called Ishigua? That's what it's called. Okay, yeah. It's a social media. So it's used for the phone. Okay. Well, that's what I want to know. It's another Chinese YouTube. Okay, so, but it's for iPhone and iPad. Okay, I didn't know that, so that's why I tried to. And I also heard about. There's also okay, yeah. I can't get on Todu right now, but yeah. Oh, here it is. Here's Todu. So here's Todu.com. Another Chinese YouTube alternative, right here. I'm not gonna sign up for it, but you can look. You can watch it right here. It's you can watch videos here. It's another Chinese YouTube alternative, and also and there's also Youku, right here. Okay, I'll show you. Chinese version of YouTube right here. See, and here's Youku. You can watch this. You can, yeah, so you can sign up for this, but So here's Youku right here, Chinese version. There's another Chinese version of YouTube. So why? You know, that's why. So you can get on it. You can watch videos here. You know, that's why. I try to show you the copy that China made copies of their own social media. That's why. And I know that California's not banning Chinese social medias. Well, probably because they don't know what they are. That's why. And this is why. You know, that's why. I can tell them that China has their own version of social media, and that's why. But here's Youku, another Chinese YouTube alternative. It's called Youku.tv, okay. This is Youku.tv, and here's Youku.com. So here's Youku, another Chinese YouTube alternative. Right here, you can get on it and watch YouTube videos in Mandarin. So they want some videos. That's why you can get on them and watch some videos here. That's why. So you got, yeah, there's Bilibili and there's, okay, yeah, it's a Ishigwa. Okay, that's what it is. And then there's Todu and there's Youku. So, yep, and these are 4 Chinese versions of YouTube. You can go ahead and watch them right here in the US if you want to. Yeah. Are there, I'm not sure how you can understand them though, because they're all in Mandarin. That's why. Well, I guess it could be pretty good if you're learning Mandarin, I guess. But you know what? Go ahead. But go ahead anyway. I'm not sure what you think about this, so that's why. So, I oppose social media bans, and you should be opposing them too. We don't need stuff we don't need things what the CCP has already, you know, because or they think that it will protect kids. It won't protect kids at all. We need to stop them because it's a violation of our First and Fourth Amendment. That's why. And what's the point? And plus, the U.S. is not banning Chinese social media. And do you want to watch that? It's all in Mandarin, first of all. So how do you gonna understand it anyway? Because it's in Mandarin. Unless you want to learn Mandarin yourself, unless you want to learn Mandarin yourself, and that's fine. Look, I know, I get that Mandarin is an awesome language to learn, but we don't need this social media bans. Okay? These social media bans have to go away. I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon, but we need to get them to go away sometime. That's why we need to stop supporting these social media bans. We need to start opposing them. And that is why. So, the best you can do is call your local representative and say, and tell them to vote. Well, I'll be saying, and be saying you have to call your senator and tell him to vote no. But on there's also kids off social media. But here, there's also kids off social media act right here. And I thought there was another version of it. Yeah, right here. So that's why. So you got the Senate version, and you also got the HR, and you got the House version of it too. So, let me tell you something. Instead of supporting this, oppose it, because it's going to be uploading your ID to use social media if you prove you're over the age of, yeah, this one is 13, but you're going to be one of the ways up to 16, and you can prove over the age of 16. That's why. So the answer is no. Okay? Instead, call your local representative and say, no, we don't want a social media ban. And that's the answer right there. And if it becomes law, we have to ask for a repeal, and that's why. And we can't do that if we keep supporting this, and that's why. These social media bans don't work, and I'm going to tell you why. And the one in Australia is not working. No, kids are finding a way to get a workaround with VPNs or stealing the parents' IDs, and that's what's going to happen here in the U.S. too, and that's why. And also, they're also proposing social media ban also in the UK as well. And I believe parents could be stealing their IDs as well. I believe kids are going to steal their parents' IDs or use VPNs, and that's why. So, kids will find a workaround because these social media bans can be bypassed, and that's why. That's why I'm against them, and YouTube's also against social media bans. That's why. We don't need them. And we don't need to watch Chinese versions of you. If you don't need to watch Chinese versions of social media, and we don't need to sign up for China's version of social media anyway, or Chinese versions of YouTube either, unless you want to, instead you want to watch Chinese videos, I guess. And learn, I guess. But if you're going to learn Mandarin, I guess, I don't know what else. I oppose them, and I think you should too. Anyway, So, on the California's version, just call your senator, ask for a no vote on California's social media ban. That's all you do if you live in California anyway. But on this version, the kids off social media, yeah. As to a certain all you have to do is call your senate and ask for a no vote. It got introduced, in January of last year. And then this one right here, this one got introduced in February of this year. All you can do is call your local representative and ask for no vote on this. So, I'm against social media bans, and you should be against them too. Okay? Stop supporting them, because it's just a blowing your copy of your ID to prove you're over a certain age. You know, even if it's 13 or 16, just to use social media. That's why, and we need to stop it. That's why. I'm against them, and you should be against them too. And YouTube's against social media bans too. That's why. You know, YouTube already has global ID verification. That's why. Another one will be, and I believe Discord's against them, so is Roblox. But I don't know why, because Roblox already has global ID verification, and then Discord is already chose to have global ID verification. That's why. Anyway. You can watch my How to Go to Heaven video on Rumble or BitChute anyways. And hopefully sometime in the future we can vote for people who will care about the internet. That's why. We need to vote for people who will care about the internet. We will care about our privacy. Okay? And that's why. Look, I'm not against taking care of kids. What I'm against is privacy invasion. We need our privacy, and that's why. So these social media bans are not going to protect kids. It's going to cause data breaches. That's why. It's going to cause data breaches in the US and also other countries around the world too. That's why. So that's why we need to oppose them, because it will cause data breaches. So that's what's going to happen. I believe these social media bans are going to cause data breaches in the US, and that's why. And that's why we need to stop them. You know, if they become law, we have to ask for a repeal, and that's why. Anyway, you can watch my How to Go to Heaven video on Rumble or BitChute anyway. And if you want to fight against NES, you can also help on the top news of the priority campaigns from Reform California. It's made by Carl DeMaio. Yes, I support Carl DeMaio, the Republican representative that supports San Diego County anyway.
Come on, Daniel.
And yeah, you can also get onto NetChoice. Looks like NetChoice has blocked a Texas online censorship law called HB 18. It's just called the so-called Scope Act. Okay, so that's. You can let me know in the comments below about that. You can also read about that. I'll read about that in a different video. But and yes, the kids have to pass the House, but the fight isn't over. You have to call your senator and tell them to vote no. And yes, call your local representative, tell them to vote no on these aidfication bills. We need to stop them anyway. We need to save the internet, you know, and that's why. We don't need more, and that's why. We need to ask for repeals, and that's why. Just like I've been asking for repeals. Well, because it's already too late for California, that's why. All I can do is ask for repeal, and that's why. And that's why I'm trying to do anyway. We still got Yeah, I know, but at least the California social media ban, that's not law yet. But it may become law, and then we might have to ask for repeal. That's why. So, right now on the social media ban, you can still call your senator and ask for a no vote on California's social media ban anyway. But on the federal version, you can call your Senate, ask for a no vote, and then for your HR, call your local representative, call your House, your representative in Congress, and tell them to vote no. That's all you can do anyway. So, and yes, and these tend to vote no on these age vacation bills right here on BatterNetBills.com. All right, and now my next video is called "What Does Bible Say About Going to a Forest?" Well, I'll be talking about that next video anyway. And if you want to watch, look, if you want to learn, if you want to watch videos on these Chinese YouTube alternatives like Bilibili and Ishigwa and Todu and Yoku, that's fine. Go ahead. I don't know if you would understand them unless you can unless you want to learn Mandarin, I guess. Anyway, I have to go right now. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you later. Goodbye. Adios. Zaijian.